Hi there. This is going to be your feedback for the pre-test essay. I thought the video kind of casting here would work better. I was just having trouble finding a way to annotate these. So I'm not going to go over everything here, but I'm trying to give you a picture of the big ideas at play, or some of the larger issues, if there are any. And I can take a closer look at it if you want, or if you have any questions, come and see me or email me. But here we go. Okay, so I think I really like your subtitle here. I would just be very careful. So when you're writing, you don't want to do shorthand. So Atlantic Coast Pipeline is like something you want to say first, before you start saying ACP. So you don't want to use that in a title. So just kind of thinking about that. So usually, like when you would do something like Atlantic Coast Pipeline, and then you could do after that ACP, right? Okay, so getting into it. So, what we're going to talk about in these genres is we want to kind of get away from think. I personally think what we want to do is provide facts to the reader and use those facts to argue. Like, instead of just saying, like, I think this, or we should do that, or I think that, we want to get away from doing that. You can still use I in your writing, but what you really want is the facts to kind of talk for themselves, right? Um, and so, you don't need this kind of ACP, um, part here. So, we can probably begin this a little better. I think, if you said, something to the point of, I think what's interesting here is like the community. So, like the difference between the nation or the state and the smaller community. So putting those two at odds with one another, because I think the debate here has something to do with between environmental cost and profit cost, and sometimes that pits larger entities, that don't have to live with the pipe and the smaller communities that do. So just set this up. So um, this sentence isn't quite complete. So if both sides can come up with agreement to work together, it seems like that either is a part of another sentence or is incomplete. So just like if you read your writing aloud, you're going to pick up on some of these stuff. So before you kind of turn in these assignments, make sure that you're reading them aloud, um, and that's going to pick up on some of this stuff. So let's go. Then this plan of creating more income for a state. So like you're saying this plan, but you haven't laid out what that plan is, right? Like we know the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, um, and you're saying something about creating more income, but we haven't laid out like what is it doing to the community. So we, we want to kind of lay those facts out first, and not just kind of jump right into assumptions, right? So that's where laying out what the Atlantic Coast Pipeline is first, and then you want to lay out, the two sides of the story here. Um, okay, so this reads more of a reflection piece rather than arguing, right? This would be something informal that you would maybe blog post on a class website on, um, but you don't, you what you want to talk about is like not you, try to remove you from the kind of writing. I think that's going to help you for now. I think trying to just lay out what the people are saying, in either their own voice or kind of a mediated way, might help you here, right? Okay. So again, you're kind of redundant here. So if we can get a team together to focus, like you're saying, like, come to agreement, working together. Those are saying similar things. So just be careful, especially in such a small amount of time. Um, okay, so again, like, these are kind of reflecting. Like, what I want you to do is use what the people are saying in the articles to kind of help them lay it out. So, what's really missing here is like what these articles say. And this is more of kind of like this is done as an opinion piece rather than, interacting with what the people say and how do you argue a new point, right? Um, so like we should be able to come up to a plan in a clean way to do this, right? The thing is, we want to argue some kind of point. Like what there's obviously benefits on both sides and there's downfalls of both sides. So we want to kind of be in the middle. Also, like just some stylistic things. Beginning two sentences the exact same can get repetitive and boring. Again, you have the and the here, and then a third the. So you want to vary your sentence beginnings often. Um, if not, it becomes very uh, repetitive, right? So, you know, I think, this isn't asking for you to do an opinion piece. It's asking you to more interact with the evidence and then bring in additional evidence, right? There's a conversation between these two people. And what you want to do is know their conversation and kind of uh, communicate what their conversation is, but then to bring in additional information, which was in the assignment prompt. So you got to make sure when you're reading these assignment prompts that you just read through them very clearly. If there's anything confusing, please ask me or email me. Um, but also, like, you want to go directly, like when you're citing, you don't want the reader to do a lot of work. So like you need to lay out where both of the articles are coming from. So those would be two separate citations and works cited here. I'm glad that you used a citation for the picture up here. I would just make sure that you're both having a caption here and doing a citation in MLA. This is definitely not MLA style, so just making sure that you're looking, on the website that Dana gave us for citation and taking a look at that. Uh, but overall, it looks like we got some work to do with getting facts into your writing and working with facts rather than just kind of blurting your opinion, which your opinion matters and you want to spread it in there, but you don't want to be overt. So like when you're heavy-handed, you're going to have people that just stop listening. So let me know if you have any questions. And overall, from a media standpoint, I'd like some more pictures or videos in place here. There's just like there's this splash page, which is nice, but there's no other kind of media in here. So you want to work with media to argue. Um, if you're trying to make something about farmland and water supply, like show a picture of a dried up field or something. You want to make this kind of compelling to people, and they should listen to your points. And images sometimes will help with that. So I'd like to see more images besides more evidence in the writing itself. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.